tells me I'm now live. That means I'm with you, connected. You can see me. I can't see you, but I believe that you're there, whoever you are. Hi, Satnam. Welcome. Our names begin to appear. That's nice. I appreciate this moment of connection. At these times of quarantine, we were inspired to put on these talks with a view to sharing some of the very rich content of the Mother's Journey training, which together with Elena O'Keefe and other very good feminist teachers, we put together to share the ancient teachings regarding maternity, women, family, babies, with women who go through motherhood and the various challenges of the process, of the journey. So, in these times where we're all in our home, we can't meet in person, this is the way to do it. Thank God for this technology. And I've got two beautiful fairies here that help me with all the technological aspects, which for me are a challenge, I must admit. But it's nice to see you, that you're there, you're appearing. I think you are all over the world, all over Europe, in the English-speaking world, or you're bilingual. Satnam, welcome. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Satya Kaur. I'm a mother of three. I have 3 grandchildren as well. I was a midwife for 9 years, and now I put these teachings that I learned through my practice and clinical experience together with my yogic background. I'm a yoga teacher and teacher trainer, and and now through the Mother's Journey, I'm a childbirth educator and a pregnancy and postnatal yoga teacher. So I'm inspired to bring these two sources of knowledge and share with you. Today the topic is abortion and miscarriage recovery. This is a topic that remains to a large extent taboo in our society. Is something that is felt deeply and profoundly by women, often on their own. Sometimes the experience and the trauma is shared with the loved ones, intimate ones, maybe the father of the baby, but which can mark us. I'm not saying that if you experienced an abortion, then you are marked or cursed for the rest of your life, like some people are so full of guilt that they attribute to this other misfortune that happened in their life. That is unfortunate. Is not, the situation is not linear because of this then that, not necessarily. It's more complex than that. And we have a tremendous amount of the power of self-healing. So just because we have this difficult experience of loss, pregnancy interruption, doesn't mean that we are therefore carrying a load and we are riddled with guilt or karma. It can be alleviated, and we're going to talk about it. So let me see, people from Argentina, Satnam, Michelle, Namdeep, you're back, that's good. The Mother's Journey is a training of postnatal and pregnancy yoga teachers based on the teachings of Yogi Bhajan, Kundalini Yoga, but also other ancient teachings of women from many different cultures, from Africa, from Native America, from India, from China. So we collected many of these teachings and our own experiences as women here in the West, and we put together this fantastic training. If you're interested, you can let us know. We don't have dates set here in Portugal where I am, but there's dates set for that training in the UK, in Germany, Switzerland, and Denmark. So, I'm going to talk about recovery from abortion or miscarriage. So, in both cases, there's an interruption of pregnancy, so the outcome is the same. A woman who was pregnant who's now empty. She's not carrying a child. Maybe she very much wanted this child and this pregnancy was very welcome and cherished, which is the sad case of miscarriage, when spontaneously the pregnancy dissolves, there's loss. The causes we don't know, and we're not going to focus on causes. Can be hormonal, can be chromosome abnormalities, can be a shock in a woman's life. We don't know, and we shouldn't spend too much time on what was the cause of it. There's tests you can do which may help you to intellectually integrate the experience and maybe give you hope for a future pregnancy. In the case of abortion, which is provoked and it's a deliberate choice to terminate the pregnancy, again, the causes we're not going to explore. And although it may be a conscious decision to alleviate yourself from something you're not ready to face, maybe you feel is having a child and having a family, having that kind of responsibility is not congruent with your sense of destiny or what you're facing in your life. Maybe the sexual encounter you had was meaningless, or it maybe was even uninvited, and it resulted in pregnancy, which you're not prepared to continue. We say if the pregnancy is terminated early enough in the pregnancy, when there's really not the soul or a spirit of another person present in you, such as in early pregnancy, when we say there's ethereal connection between the soul that chose you as a mother, as a vessel, as a channel to come into this life, and you, maybe some part of you unconsciously, you were ready for it, your body was receptive, but consciously you hadn't made that connection. So if it's early enough, I'm talking the yogic teachings, and I believe is not a murder, is not an act of extreme violence against something. There is some karma involved because every action has a reaction. Every action has a reaction. That's the law of karma. But it doesn't mean major consequences for you, for your child, or their partner. So let's focus first on the case of abortion. When there's an abortion, the body is grieved. The body has been, what it was directing itself towards conception, growth, has been interrupted externally, deliberately. It's not the story of the body, it's the story of the mind, and something you do to your body that interrupts the natural process. So, sure, after abortion there's an emptiness in the body, just like after miscarriage, there's an emptiness in the body, and the body feels betrayed. There's no denying that. The body feels betrayed, and the language of the body is like perplexed, and there's like no understanding. So there's an emptiness and there's a disconnection, temporary. In your mind, maybe you can talk yourself, it was the right thing, it was not the right moment to proceed with this pregnancy, and I feel clear about it, I feel relieved that it's over. That's great, but the body needs to be taken care of. So there's things we can do, and I'll talk in a little moment about what you can do to address the disappointment that the body, the cells, this physical entity feels. So there's sadness and there's loss, acknowledged. The body also can feel, and I'm talking about the body as an entity. We're all one, we have many levels of existence, but there's also, the body feels angry. What has just happened to me, and what is that? And so that anger needs to be expressed in some way, and I will recommend a particular practice that will help you. In the case of miscarriage, is loss, is a sense of anxiety. What's happening with me? I'm losing. This is involuntary. I'm bleeding. What else am I going to lose? And what's wrong with me? You question yourself. There's a extreme insecurity. And does that mean, what does that mean for the future? So, three things to be objective. If you are faced with abortion, let's say, three things you should bear in mind. Was it conducted early enough in the pregnancy? As early as possible is much less traumatic. And in yogic teachings we say if it's done before the 16th week of pregnancy, that's 120 days of pregnancy, counting from the first day of your last period. First 120 days of pregnancy, the soul is not really incarnated in the body of the fetus. Like I spoke before, there is an ethereal connection, but not a physical connection. So what's happening in the body is part of the mother's body. The cells are multiplying, a being is information, but it's not a life that you are taking. So it's much easier to get over the karmic impact is diminished. And it's diminished as well if it's early on, but also if it comes with an acknowledgement, a moment of consciousness, and let's call it a prayer. If there's a communication between yourself and your partner, if he's involved, if there's a communication between yourself and this soul that seems to want to come through, and you acknowledge, you ask for pardon that this is not the right time, I don't feel capable. In my all honesty, sensitivity, intimacy, I am not ready, then there's a communication and there's an alleviation of just misunderstanding, shock or disconnection. Also, it's important that we women do not resort to termination as a method of contraception, of course. Lessons have to be learned, and if lessons are learned, we grow in consciousness and we're more wiser, we can discern our actions, our partners, our conduct, sexual conduct. In the case of miscarriage, again, we don't know the causes. It doesn't matter so much. Maybe you can find out. Very often, professionals will suggest to you, well, in due course, not immediately, consider another pregnancy to replace the one you've lost. And very often for many women this is a good outcome. Sometimes it's not possible and other options are there. The causes, I don't know if I've just said this before. I've done this talk before in English, so in Portuguese, so I don't know if I'm repeating myself. In the case of miscarriages, there's an emptiness, there's a grief, there's a sense of loss and extreme sadness. And also a question of yourself, what have I done that caused this miscarriage? And it can make you feel very anxious in a future pregnancy. So what can we do to, how to deal with this in either case? When we lose blood and a lot of heat, and our pregnancy is associated with heat, like a furnace, there's a life brewing in there, and there's heat. So when you lose it, deliberately or not, you lose a lot of heat from the center of your body, and you lose blood, body fluids, and you lose a hope that was associated with growth and possibility, and you lose all that. So you are okay physically. It may be mended. There's the blood loss has been arrested, whatever, but there's a sense of disconnect. The synapses in your nervous system are a little bit not working very well. The air and ether elements, the tattvas of air and ether predominate in the body and makes you a little bit unearthly, not very present. So in terms of the Ayurvedic doshas, there's an excess of vata. And when there's vata, which is excess movement, it's important that you stay still. So we recommend, in either case, after pregnancy loss, that you stay still. You would observe quarantine, like we are enjoying quarantine at the moment due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We're all advised to stay at home. Well, consider repeating this kind of experience when you have a miscarriage or an abortion, okay? Stay at home, don't go anywhere. Eat well, eat lightly, eat foods that are rich in the element of fire, the tattva of fire, foods that replenish the heat in your body. This is very important. So eat lightly, don't move much, bind yourself with this kind of rebozo or this type of turbans you can put around your belly, keep the heat there, contain your energy, and stay very still. Don't move very much. The ligaments were already stretching to allow for the growing pregnancy. They need to shorten again, and then you need to kind of come back together, just yourself, with yourself. Very important to do meditation at that time. Meditation, prayers to reaffirm your hope in the Great Spirit, in the Almighty that rules all, and maybe this was always part of the plan. So there's a yogic practice called japa, which means repetition. Repeating mantras or repeating God's name is very important in all its forms. Maybe make a little altar to the feminine power and kind of ask the Great Mother to be here and support you. You, as a mother, need mothering at this time. We recommend for women not only after miscarriage when you bleed, or after abortion when you bleed as well, but also when women bleed monthly with a menstruation. We recommend that they saute some almonds. I'm talking almonds with the skin. It's important. It's the astringent part of the almond is in the skin, and it's important you take a handful of almonds with their skin and you saute them in ghee. Ghee is a type of fat that is very pure, and it contains a fair amount of fire, heat in it. So you saute the almonds in ghee in the morning and then eat them with a little bit of honey. This is good to do whenever you're bleeding vaginally, whatever the reason. Take those almonds in the morning, once a day. Also other rich foods rich in fire but easily digested, because you don't have much digestive fire at this point. You've lost a lot of heat. So foods that are easy to digest and stay put. Write if you like, meditate, rest, tell your story. See if there's somebody close to you, partner, relative, friends who will listen to your story. You have to express yourself. There's a beautiful ritual that this great spiritual teacher from Burkina Faso, who I greatly respect, her name is Subon Fusome, and she shared with us here in the West the wisdom and the practices and rituals of the Dagara tribe. Dagara tribe was the tribe she came from, and they did many rituals for many things. And here they recommend that you you acknowledge what's just happened to you and to your partner if he was with you in spirit and supporting you. I'm happy to describe it so that maybe you can adapt it to your community and to your social connections. So they recommend that after an event like this, miscarriage, termination, that you get together with friends and you come together as a circle. Everybody should bring with them a little contribution to this ritual, and this contribution can be maybe something that reminds them of a similar experience that they had, or the hopes that they had for you and this being that seemed to be coming, or something that gives you support and reiterates your identity or your power as a woman, that somebody else wants to remind you that you're still here, we count on you, and we appreciate you and the choice that you made. So everybody brings a little something. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be a flower, it can be a poem, it can be a baby item. It doesn't matter. Ask them all to bring something. And you place a clay pot in the center of the circle. Before you start, you invoke the Great Spirit and the spirit of the ancestors who transmit through your bloodline, and you ask them to be present and to acknowledge and support what you're trying to do, what you're trying to overcome. So a prayer is said in the beginning. However you do it, each of you have your own cultures. Yogic culture is one, but there's others. So then everybody places their item in the pot, which is unglazed, is a raw clay pot, so that you can bury it in the earth, and it doesn't have ecological contamination. Do you understand? There's no, it's biodegradable. And at that point, you ask the woman and her partner, if he or she is there, to tell their story, to say it out loud, how this came to be, what hopes they had, what plans they make for the future if this was seen as not conducive to a good future, to tell their story and express their feelings. And sometimes people in the community share those feelings. And if they don't share the feelings, maybe they understand where you're coming from. It's important there is such an acknowledgement. And the parents make a commitment to avoid a similar situation in future, and perhaps to stop interfering with the female body in this way. A lot of nurturing is needed from the community to support a couple, a family, or a woman who goes through this experience. It's no good to say, oh, never mind, you can try again. None of that kind of comments. They're not helpful. They will feel very harsh. They're not welcome. And then you seal the pot, you put a lid on it, and you go to a ground you have access to. It can be your garden, a friend's garden, or it can be communal land out of the way, and you bury the pot. And again, you chant or sing something to call the ancestors to make a completion of this occasion. As you've signed for this talk, and I'm glad you did. I'm glad you love to talk about these topics, and I think it's very important. And we demystify these experiences that women go through in silence, and which, when they are processed, they remain a stain and they remain a burden, and they die with these unspoken truths that they've been through. I'm happy to talk about it. I hope you do as well, and we are more open and accept these facts of life. At the end of this talk, I'm going to share with you a particular meditation from the Kundalini Yoga tradition. If you're not familiar with it, there's instructions on how to practice this meditation called Siddha Shiva meditation. It's a meditation to get rid of profound sadness and also get rid of rage. But the body feels rage when it's interfered with in this way, where it was going with a kind of natural hope. It's important that this rage that the body feels is kind of appeased, and you get a chance to express it. It's a very powerful meditation. You do it only for 7 minutes, and then you should practice it daily for 40 days. The woman should be recluse for some time after the miscarriage or abortion. I said before, if it's early gestation, let's say 2 weeks, If it's late gestation, let's say it's a therapeutic abortion, can be done to a woman up until 22 weeks gestation. It's very far gone. She should take 40 days of the normal duties of life and not go very far. We have to take care of ourselves. We can't go through these experiences and minimize them and pretend nothing happened, because the pain, the disappointment, the trauma is there somewhere in your subconscious, like it or not, and it's important that we free ourselves of it. Okay, I have a few minutes. I'm happy to hear any comments or questions if you have. Do I know how to access them? Let's see. Put my glasses on so I can read. Yes, absolutely. Hearing the stories of other women who go through the experience can be very reassuring and very nurturing. That's what I'm saying. We should be talking about these things with each other and even with our partners, family members. Let it not be silent, taboo, brushed under the carpet, because it festers. When it goes under the carpet and is like a shame in the family, who don't talk about it, it doesn't go away. It stays there and it can corrode you. Yes. Oh, I wish I knew how to operate this. I see many of you are there. I see Namdeep. I see Elsa from France. Hello. So I'm just thinking if there's any comments that I should address. We haven't spoken everything that should be spoken. We do these talks every 2 weeks. I will be here with you again in 2 weeks' time, approaching the next topic, which is about pregnancy. Going through the first days, which are the most precarious, the most vulnerable, and about how to celebrate it in our community and bring community together and punctuate our community to enrich it. Yes, I know, Michelle. I know you had a miscarriage. I remember. It's very sad, and I hope we sensitize to approaching this topic. We can sensitize ourselves to the what another woman goes through when you bleed from the center of your body involuntarily, and you seem to, how much am I going to bleed? How much am I going to dissolve myself in this? And to stop it, it's very frightening. Well, what should you say to a woman who's gone through a miscarriage, and instead of saying, oh, you can try again next time, be luckier, just to be there. You don't have to say very much. You can feel with your heart, reverberate with what the woman is feeling, and be there and ask open questions. Sorry, what you were hoping this child to be, or what kind of parent you think you are, and or what can I do for you to help you? Can I cook you some meal? Would you like them again? This kind of thing, just to be present and nurturing. If the family and friends don't know about the pregnancy, and now that it's finished, you feel not inclined to share, still share it with somebody close, so that somebody else, a witness, knows that what you've been through. And if you have to show your face to disclose it, I've just been through this, I've just encountered this experience, so that if they see you looking dismal or pale or whatever, they can understand, and they okay, they never encountered this in anybody else's life. Maybe they don't know what to say, but Okay, it's in the open. Give me a chance. More comments here. Let's see. So this meditation that I will share with you tomorrow, with the instructions, can be done anytime. Body, anytime. So if you feel there's something unprocessed there, do it. It's only 7 minutes a day. Do it. Invest in yourself. Make yourself worthy of this investment for yourself, so that you can move on. Otherwise, it's there in the edges. Yeah, it's a very hard experience. It's extremely sad. It can really freeze you. And for a long time, you say time heals, and it does. But some things stay with you forever. It's true. Mm. Yes, if the ritual is not done in good time, then it can be. It may feel like too little, too late. I don't know. I think it's worth trying. Um, I'm sorry I have to interrupt here. On Instagram, this video, if you want to catch some details, this video will be here for 24 hours. On Facebook, I understand the video remains in the page for 2 weeks. So it's been nice to connect. This is the way we connect now, and maybe, God knows, maybe this is the way we connect in the future much more than we have done in the past. I appreciate your interest in this topic, in women's causes and women's real life experiences as a whole. The Mother's Journey will explore these topics and many others. Should you be interested to kind of be an advocate for women's and mothers' experience, please join us. So I say thank you to you too, and Satnam, I'll see you hopefully in 2 weeks' time when we'll talk about the topic of pregnancy announcement. Slightly on a happier note. Satnam.